And AMP has already confirmed they're ready as well.
Excellent. Then we will get going. Okay. Let's call the afternoon session of the ARC together at 4 o'clock. On our call today, we have Fernanda, Kim, Chris Schmidt, and I think that, Jennifer and Sarah. Can you do a roll call, please?
Absolutely. So I have Chair Carter.
Here.
And I have Vice Chair Bluth, and he is absent today. Committee Member Hunter.
Present.
Committee Member Ostavar.
Here.
Thank you. Committee Member Polly.
Here.
Oh, there we go. Thank you. Committee Member Schmidt.
Here.
And Committee Member Tregenza.
Here.
Thank you, everybody.
Great. So now we will open the consent agenda. Is there any member of the committee of the public that would like to speak on the consent agenda?
I can take this time to introduce our method of joining for public comment. We encourage members of the public to join via Zoom Gov, a secure service that connects you live with no lag time. This meeting is also streamed live on youtube.com/City of Monterey with a 10-second delay and Comcast channel 25 with up to 90-second delay. If you would like to provide public comment, please join the meeting using Zoom or by telephone, making sure to join in time to accommodate delays. To join the meeting in Zoom from a computer or phone, use the link or phone numbers listed on the agenda posted at isearchmonterey.org. Since the meeting has already begun, you will find the agenda under the Recent tab. To join by telephone, dial 833-568-8864. This is a toll-free number. If that first number does not work, there are others listed on the agenda. Again, that is at isearchmonterey.org. You might need to enter a webinar ID. For this webinar, it is 161-914-9563. Once again, 161-914-9563. If prompted to enter a participant ID, press pound. Detailed instructions for using Zoom are available at monterey.org/public meetings. Once we are ready for public comment, to provide public comment, use the raise your hand function in Zoom at the bottom of the screen. If you are providing public comment by phone, dial *9 to raise your hand, then *6 to unmute when called upon. Public commenters calling in by Zoom will be announced using the last three phone number digits or the name typed into Zoom. Public commenters will be muted until it is their turn to speak. Please turn off TV or computer speakers or go into another room while connected by phone as the background noise interferes with the broadcast. Finally, public speakers will be called upon in order of hands raised. The chair has designated a 3-minute time limit for today's meeting. Please stay within your time limit.
Thank you, Jennifer. Do we have anybody who would like to comment on consent agenda items? I don't see any, so we will ask for a motion on the consent agenda, which is just the minutes.
Okay, I move that we approve the consent agenda, including the minutes from the previous ARC meeting.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I second.
Thank you. Is there any other discussion about that? Okay, seeing none, we'll go to a vote, please.
Absolutely. So Chair Carter.
Aye.
Committee or Vice Chair Bluth is absent. Committee Member Hunter.
Aye.
Thank you. Committee Member Ostavar.
I think I can go with the previous minutes, but not the last one because I think I wasn't in attendance. But
that's right. You weren't present at the last one.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. And then Committee Member Polly.
Aye.
Committee Member Schmidt.
Aye.
And Committee Member Tregenza.
The same. I wasn't at the last meeting, so I can't. I'll abstain from that, but I will approve the other meeting minutes.
Great, thank you very much.
Great. That motion carries, and we are going to move into public comments. If there is any member of the public who would like to address an item not on today's agenda, you can do that at this time. Do you want to give us information on how to join again, Jennifer?
I sure do. Thank you. To join the Zoom meeting from a computer or phone, use the link or phone numbers listed on the agenda posted at isearchmonterey.org. To join by telephone, dial 833-568-8864. Again, 833-568-8864. This is a toll-free number. If it does not work for you, please try another one posted on the agenda at isearchmonterey.org. The webinar ID for this meeting is 161-914-9563. Once again, 161-914-9563. Once you are in the Zoom meeting, to provide public comment, use the raise your hand function in Zoom at the bottom of the screen. If you are providing public comment by phone, dial *9 to raise your hand, then *6 to unmute when called upon. And currently I do see we have 2 attendees, but neither of them are raising their hand. So quick reminder, it is *9 to raise your hand if you would like to provide public comment. And no hands are raised, so I suggest we can move on, and I will interrupt if that changes.
Awesome, thank you. Oh, there's a hand raised now.
I spoke too soon. All right, Michaeline Moraz, you should be able to unmute yourself now.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yep, welcome.
Thank you. I don't know if this is the right time. This is my first attending of the architectural review. I live on Fillmore Street in Monterey, and somebody's building a house across the street. And I was just wondering if I could take a look at the proposed, what the house is going to look like. I don't have any particular objections. I think people can build houses, but I just wanted to take a look at it. Can I do that here, or can you tell me how I can do that?
I'm going to defer to staff on that.
Sure. That is our next agenda item. And so our staff will give a presentation and we'll show images of what the proposed house will look like. If you'd like, you can stay on. Not sure if you have the ability to look at the video or if you're just on your phone. But if not, we can email you the proposal. It's also on isearchmonterey.org under the meeting, the ARC meeting today.
I'm on my computer. Sorry, I don't have an image.
Okay.
I'm on my computer, and I will just follow the meeting since that's going to be the next item on the agenda.
Okay. Thank
We'll
you.
have a full report from staff, so you'll get to see everything.
Okay, thanks.
You're welcome.
Can I clarify something on that?
Sure.
She said Fillmore Street, didn't she?
Yes.
Okay. Alan, is your project's on Fillmore?
It is.
Okay, sorry, my apologies. I thought this was
Yes, it is on Fillmore.
Apologies.
And
Okay.
Fernando, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think before we move on to this part of the agenda, I need to recuse myself due to potential perceived conflict of interest. Some of the work came from my office. I'm not familiar with it, but so I'll have to sign off.
Okay, thank you, Pam.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Bye.
Bye. Okay. So with no further public comments, we will move to our first public appearance item, which is 747 Fillmore Street, Architectural Review Permit ARP 21-0043 for preliminary and final architectural review of a new 2-story single-family dwelling. Is there a staff report?
Yes, there is. Thank you, Chair.
Thank
My
you.
name is Chris Schmidt. Thank you.
And I am a senior associate planner with the city, and I have been working with the applicant, Mr. Alan Robinson, on this project. And yes, it's a new two-story single-family dwelling at 747 Fillmore Street. Okay, so the staff recommendation is to approve the project with conditions. Moving on to just some background information here, we see the site. It is zoned R1. It has a general plan designation of single family residential, and that is proposed on what is currently a vacant lot. I always like to show the development standard chart in case we have any questions. We can refer back to it. But moving on to the site survey, the point of showing this survey is just to show that there is kind of a gentle slope. The rear is at the top of the graphic here, and Fillmore Street is at the bottom. And the home is kind of proposed in the front right side of that, as you'll see on the site plan, which is generally the kind of the flatter part of the site, but it does go uphill, as you'll see on the next slide. Yeah, so here we see it, mostly on this right-hand side with the driveway on the left, and I've highlighted in red here the area that there's a request to allow a 1 foot setback for the driveway rather than the typical 3 foot requirement in the front yard setback area. And I'll get into that in some later slides, but the primary reason is because of that group of trees that you see just to the right of that red box. This is something that staff suggested in order to preserve the trees. The applicant wanted to preserve the trees, so I think this is the path that staff recommended to move forward. Moving on to the floor plan. So here we see on the right-hand side, the first floor. And you see there's a proposed office room, a living room. There's a front porch at the entrance there, a covered front porch, a dining room, kitchen, bathroom, garage, and a stair to the second floor where there are 3 proposed bedrooms and 2 baths. What I failed to mention, and I'll go back to my previous slide, this site is supplied by a well, which has been permitted by the Monterey Peninsula Water Management District and Monterey County Health, which is why it's actually very interesting to see so many bathrooms at a new home. That's we don't see that many at many of our single family homes in Monterey. So nice to see a home with lots of bathrooms. So this is a photo I took of the site from Fillmore Street. Again, you can kind of see towards the end of that driveway there, that's the well that I mentioned. And there are actually some trees that are crossing the property line that actually on the right-hand side that the neighbor has since removed. So there's no issue with that tree and the home as proposed. So here is the front elevation of the home. The applicant has chosen a bungalow style design, and it's reflected in the design. And he did also provide a graphic to show some comparisons of the bungalow style with his proposed design. And I think he does really make a nice bungalow style. This is the rear elevation where the garage is located, and there's a rear door there as well. And then moving on to the side elevations, as if this would be the planned left side. You'll see the siding is all lap siding on the siding. And then you do see at the porch and second story, there's a second story deck proposed. It does have a shingle siding, and that you see that throughout, and I'll show that on my materials slide. I also do want to mention that there, as you can see, there's no chimney for the fireplace that goes through the roof shown on the plans. This is actually a false chimney because they're proposing a gas fireplace in the home. So that that fireplace would actually be covered in like a brick veneer. Here's the other side of the home. This is the plan right side. Just note there are, you know, just a couple of small windows. This is the side that's closer to the neighbor on the right side. So here's that bungalow style graphic, and the proposal really does have a lot of these elements. I just want to make note of that you know, you see the columns and the various gable details and you know, the window styles are all very similar, and you'll see that on the next slide. Yeah, so here is the proposed materials and finishes slide. So you see all of the different types of exterior siding materials, as I mentioned, in the gable and at the patios and second floor deck. You see the shingle siding and then the lap siding throughout the home, and then a couple of different types of I believe single hung windows and a mix of divided light and sort of casement. Lots of different styles that are all fairly compatible with each other to get this bungalow style. You see at the bottom of the image the proposed lantern exterior light fixtures, which you would see at the top floor here. And then I believe there is another lantern at the rear of the home. And then the porch itself, the front porch, will have lights recessed into the ceiling. The applicant has also provided a landscape plan, and the landscaping is generally, you know, fairly low water use plants, at least the majority of the plants. You know, maintaining a lot of those or all of the existing on-site trees, which are all oak trees, and then you just kind of have a lot of ground cover plants, and you know, this area it's fairly shaded, so it really will not require a ton of water anyway. So I think this was a well done landscape plan. I do want to point out, I spoke with the applicant earlier this week. He had requested to see if he can make a minor height revision, and staff is supportive. It would result in really just a 2-inch increase in height, and you know, he will give the details as to why he wants to do it. But essentially, it allows him to increase the finished floor level of the garage and the home just by a little bit, in order to not have any issues with the exterior elevation, which as proposed, it would have required a little bit more digging. This alternative would actually really not require as much digging. And so, yeah, I just wanted to point out, so it would allow him to increase the floor elevation of the garage, just so it's above what the exterior existing grade elevation has. You can see 107 is proposed and the exterior is 106.95. I think the plan that you have reviewed, the interior garage was under 107, I believe 106.6, if I'm not mistaken. But I would ask the applicant to clarify when I finish this presentation. So moving on to the architectural review findings that the ARC must make in order to approve the project. I think the ARC is fairly familiar with the findings at this point, so I've just really listed what those findings are. And the staff report and resolution have really elaborated on those findings. But in general, staff is able to make the finding that this project is wholly consistent with all the findings. It's appropriate. The design, you know, the siding form, mass, and style are appropriate for the neighborhood. The bungalow style is a style that is found in the neighborhood and throughout Monterey. And this design is executed well. Staff did not find any view, privacy, or living environment issues. There are no unreasonable impacts in that sense. The project is consistent with the city plans and the design guidelines for single-family dwellings and the new Monterey area, as well as the pre-protection guidelines And then staff has found that the exterior finish materials, colors, landscaping, lighting, and all other features are appropriate. And we have also added this condition that the applicant provide fencing details with his building permit or prior to the building permit is issued. And then so another finding that the ARC would have to make for the driveway setback. So the city code does allow minor variations to setbacks in order to achieve greater cohesion with the neighborhood, you know, or other reasons. In this case, one of the reasons that staff suggested was to preserve the trees that I mentioned in a previous slide of the site plan. If the applicant were to need to move the driveway in that front yard setback to meet the 3-foot requirement, those trees, well, he simply would have basically a 6-foot wide driveway if the trees are not removed. So, you know, I would believe that the trees would need to be removed, and that's just not the goal of staff or the applicant. So I think we found some middle ground in using this variation finding to achieve both the city's and the applicant's goals. And then this is my last slide. I just wanted to quickly go through the special conditions. The first being that the applicant has proposed that he will use pervious surface material for the driveway. I just wanted to provide that with his building permit. Fencing details, of course, and we did receive a comment from the neighbor at the rear asking if they could coordinate regarding the fencing. So I will keep them in contact. That they provide a foundation plan that shows how they'll protect the nearby trees at the front, specifically the tree roots. That the tree protection guidelines are provided on the building permit set. Our Public Works Department requires that sidewalks are constructed or repaired for projects. And so in this case, there's no existing sidewalk at the front, so we're requesting that a new sidewalk be constructed. To label, that the applicant labels the proposed and finished grade on the plan, just to ensure that it is known that the existing grade is also the proposed grade, the finished grade. And then that lastly, that the surveyor confirms that the project does not exceed 25 feet above the existing and proposed grade. And I think this condition was a little different from the one that you'll see in your resolution. Just because of the request for the height differences, I think we just wanted to make it so it was not so complicated, and by making sure that it doesn't exceed 25 feet and matches the plan that we see here, I think staff would be satisfied. So to conclude, staff recommends the ARC approve the project with the conditions I just mentioned. I'm available for questions, and I believe the applicant is here as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. Does anybody from the committee have questions for Chris?
Chris, Patrick, was there ever a house here? I'm curious, as there's a wall and a driveway. I was just curious.
You know, I actually don't know. I didn't look into the history of the site.
Okay.
Are there any other
Sorry,
questions?
I would possibly assume no if they got the water, on-site water credits and needed to put in a well, but I don't know for sure. That's all.
Are there any other committee member questions? Okay. Seeing none, would the applicant like to make a presentation?
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome. Welcome.
First, I'd like to introduce the homeowner. His name is Eric Hovey over there. Eric, you want to give him a little wave? There you are. He's going to make a nice addition to our city. Currently, he's a policeman in San Jose, looking to retire in Monterey. And last year we met and he showed me he would like to do a bungalow style, which I said, great, because I live in Spreckles, which is the capital of bungalow style houses, if you've been over there. And so, of course, the the puzzle of creating a site like this and the square footages, you know, in these projects, it's really a puzzle, floor area ratios and square footages and all that. But I think we've done the puzzle very well with Chris's help. And I'd like to thank Chris for an excellent presentation. He was very clear about that. And we're really pleased to present this project to you. We think it will be a nice addition to the city. And we are very pleased to have gone through the process where we are today. A couple of things about the road. The reason the road is on the side and the garage is in the back is one thing. We like to keep the streetscape more of a pedestrian style. And the houses are mixed, sort of mixed. There's houses across the street that have the garage opening right to the street. And then there's other houses that have the driveway to the back. We need that driveway back there so that they can service the wellhead. About once a year, there's going to be a bigger truck coming back there, and they're going to be having to, you know, use some crane type of device, somewhat similar to a auto wrecker thing where they can pull the wellhead up and service the well. So that's one of the reasons we shifted the house over to the right side more, where there's also an easement, a utility easement there. So that was sort of the puzzle. How are we going to get that to fit on this building envelope and get a vehicle back there? So that was one of the things we thought of a streetscape. We're not really right on the front setback. The front setback without a garage in the front is 15 feet, but we're 17 feet back. And that was because we wanted to also give more room for the trees in the front, which we find is an amenity to the property. In regard to, Chris, can you show the site plan again, please? Okay, so what I want to mention is that we're talking about this area is a porch. If you can see that square right there, that's a raised porch. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be, using a little exploratory post hole digging in here, so we don't have to have a continuous footing or foundation underneath the porch area. Do you understand what I mean by that? So we don't have the perimeter foundation is way over here, and we are avoiding the tree roots as much as I like to give at least 6 tree diameters away from the root system. So I think that's the case. And this, by constructing it like that, I've done that before, and it's a common practice to preserve trees. Now, have people been out and seen this story polling that was done on this project? Have the board members been to see the story polling that we did?
I haven't been able to make it out.
Yes.
Okay. Well, Mr. Hunter, you can see that it's a pretty complicated story poll system, but it's very accurate. And I think it tells a lot about how we set the house on the site in the most expeditious fashion to meet all the guidelines in the building envelope and everything like that. So I hope you'll agree that that was a very, Steve Babcock has been doing the story polls for decades here, and he does a really excellent job. Does anybody have any comments about what they saw on that? But it was clear, I hope. Okay, very good. Thank you so much for that. Okay, there you go. There's some pictures. It looks more complicated. You almost have to go there and see it with a plan, but you can see here, this is that is looking across the site. Okay, this is the upper story setback, and then this is the lower story. The perspective is kind of hard to see here, but there we go. And you can see from this picture, this is the front gable of the guest bedroom and office on the lower floor. Now, the goal of this site plan also was to do no grading. We're not proposing any import or export. It's built to the grades. And by doing that, the existing elevation is actually the final elevation around the house. Is that clear to everyone? We're doing that. We are not importing or exporting. We are only excavating for the footings. And so that's why when you see the elevation from back here, what we were talking about was in a little investigation. This is the well right here. And we're having to be able to come back and service this wellhead. Now, this elevation is 107, and it's not right on underneath the building, but you can see that 107 is going to make a nice entry to the grade for the driveway that slopes now to the front, which leaves us about a 3.5-foot raised section in the front elevation. Can you show the front elevation again, please? As you can see that we're talking about the raised part right here, which is a result of a level floor that's exiting at the back at that 107 elevation. So I think that's being sensitive to the site so that we're not grading and minimum impacts to the site coverage and the landscaping. So I hope that's clear. Any questions about that or why we were doing that? I would say that another thing we're talking about is at no place does this building hit 25 feet elevation. Can you show the side elevation too? So we want to show you what I mean by that. You see in this drawing, this is the only spot we're talking about, because forward to that spot and then after that spot, because of the natural grade, offsetting that 25 feet, you can see that we're way below 25 feet for most of the house. Do you understand what I'm saying with that? So this little bit right here is approaching 25 feet, okay? So that's why it's a little bit confusing. When you look at the front elevation, it looks like the whole ridge is at 25 feet when it's not. We're taking advantage of the natural slope of the building. There's also a bit of a cross slope by about a foot. So taking the lowest grade and adding it up, that's why we got to where we're 4 inches from 25 feet for a section of the roof about a foot long. So if I just want to emphasize, there's no place on this building that we're exceeding 25 feet. Okay. So let's see. We met the neighbor in the back about the fence, and Eric and I were on site. We met her. She's a pleasant lady, and she has kind of a rickety old fence that actually has got a hole in it that people are walking through the property through the hole in the fence. So we're happy to work with staff to present a plan for a fence in the back, a privacy fence for her and for us. You know, staff did a really great job on that. We certainly want to encourage you to accept the staff's recommendation for approval. We're asking for no variances. We're trying to be sensitive to the site, to the neighborhood, the streetscapes, and all of the things that you want to have as a nice neighbor. And I hope that Michaeline is listening or being able to see this presentation. I know Michaeline, and she's been a friend for the families for a long time, but I guess she didn't realize I was the architect on that. But I hope she likes it. It's certainly identifiable architectural style that fits, I think, the neighborhood. So I'd like to leave the rest of my time to answer any of your questions, but are there any questions at this time?
If anyone has any questions, they can go ahead and ask them.
Hey, Ellen, Patrick here. I just was curious. I don't know if you misspoke, but you said you're not asking for any variances, but there is the 1 foot versus 3 foot setback, correct?
I don't know if that's a variance or a variation. Chris, could you give us a definition for that?
Yeah, it's technically not a variance. It's
Okay.
Variance would require a planning commission approval. This is not, it's not required with a variation. The ARC can approve a variation.
Great, thanks.
Are there any other questions? I feel like you both were very thorough in your presentations. Okay, seeing none, we will go to public comment. Jennifer, do you want to remind everybody how they can join us?
Absolutely, and I do see we already have one hand raised, but I just want to get my spiel out there before I let anybody talk. So to join the meeting using Zoom from a computer or phone, use the link or phone numbers listed on the agenda posted at isearchmonterey.org. To join by telephone, dial 833-568-8864. This is a toll-free number. There are other numbers posted on the agenda at iSearch Monterey if this number does not work for you. Once again, that is 568-8864. The webinar ID for this meeting is 161-914-9563. Once again, 161-914-9563. If prompted for a participant ID, press pound. You can find detailed instructions for using Zoom at monterey.org/public meetings. To provide public comment, use the raise your hand button in Zoom at the bottom of the screen. If you are providing public comment by phone, dial *9 to raise your hand, then *6 to unmute when called upon. Public commenters calling in by phone will be announced using the last 3 phone number digits on the screen or the name typed into Zoom. And as I said, we do have one commenter raising their hand. So Michaeline Mraz, I am very sorry if I am mispronouncing your name, but I will allow you to unmute yourself now.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
There's a little bit of an echo.
Hello, can you hear me?
There's a little bit of an echo there.
Oh, okay, I'll try to talk less loud. I just wanted to say welcome to the neighborhood, Mr. Hove. I live right across the street from you. I think your design is beautiful. 2 questions. Do you have a start date and do you have an estimate of how long it will take to build the house? It's been a vacant lot for the more than 30 years I've lived across the street. So I guess I'm going to be dealing with construction. So if you could just give me, again, an estimate of a start date and how long you think it will take to build the house. You'll like the neighborhood, by the way.
I think, Eric, you need to unmute yourself. Eric, can you unmute yourself?
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Well, we're just going to go through the process as it goes and see what we can do. I mean, that Alan probably knows a little bit more about how long the process takes than what I do. I haven't done this before.
All right, so let me answer his question. If you see on the condition of approval would be that we have to start within 2 years or submit it with 60 days before the end of 2 years for a continuance. But Eric's going to be retiring and wants to get here as soon as he can. We've already talked to building contractors. We're getting cost estimates right now. But to be quite honest, the construction materials are very expensive right now. So we think we have to go through the building permit process. We think probably in the next 6 months, we will have a reduction in construction costs because they'll start manufacturing again. So, Michaeline, what we're hoping that we'll be able to build this house when we started designing it. Construction costs between then and now have gone up 300% for construction materials. So, yeah, we're hoping that this can drop down a little bit. And we understand it's a very awkward time with the COVID. No one was making products, and as an example, I've done other homes where it's taken almost 7 months to get some interior doors for a remodel from Home Depot. So there's a lack of materials. Materials that are available are really high in price right now, but we think that'll all be coming down. But I would say, I would hope we'll be able to start not during the rainy season. I would say in the spring of next year. I would think well in advance of the 2-year limitation.
Great. Thank you for the information. Alan, you did a beautiful job. Again, Mr. Hove, welcome to the neighborhood. Good luck. It sounds like this is a fraught time to build, but you know, we all have to persevere during these times. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much for your public comment. Once again, if you are in the meeting and would like to provide public comment, please dial *9 to raise your hand and then *6 to unmute when called upon. Right now, we do not have any more hands raised. That is *9 to raise your hand if you would like to provide public comment. Otherwise, I can say I think it's okay to move on.
Great.
And we can stop if we see a hand raised.
That sounds perfect. Okay, then we will close public comments for now. And is there anyone from the committee who would like to make general comments?
I really appreciate the fact that you took the existing trees into consideration when planning out the site. I also am a big fan of garages in the back. I appreciate that as well. I think it's a beautiful home, and I think it'll be a lovely addition to the neighborhood. Congratulations on your upcoming retirement, Mr. Hove. I'm a retired law enforcement officer. Stay safe and enjoy your retirement in our beautiful city.
Yeah, I'll chime in. I think it's a really nice design, Alan. And just to reiterate Shelley's comment, the garage in the back makes such a big difference. And that's a difficult lot. We actually worked on this lot before it was sold. And it's a hard lot, particularly with that well smack dab in the middle.
Yeah.
I'm
Right.
surprised you're able to put the building so close to it. I thought there were more stringent setbacks on it, but kudos to you for pulling that off. And I like the front porch. You're gonna have a nice backyard, so good job with it. It's a neat looking house. It'll be nice in the neighborhood.
Thank you.
I appreciate that you're taking the effort to preserve the trees, and I think it's going to be, trees are an important part of our city, and I look forward to seeing it done. So
I might add that back when I was on the Architecture Review Committee, I wrote the tree preservation conditions. They've been around for 20-something years. So I'm living up to my own, rules. So thank you for that.
good work.
I think this is a lovely design. Alan, I think you did a great job with this, and excellent presentation from you and Chris. And again, I think the design is going to fit very nicely in the neighborhood and make that a nice addition to it.
Thank you.
Do you have anything, Patrick? Great. Okay, then would somebody like to make a motion?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and make the motion here.
Oops, he just went mute.
You just muted yourself, Ed.
All right, let me try it again.
There we go.
All right. All right. I recommend that I move that we approve architectural review permit ARP-21-0043 for 747 Fillmore Street for preliminary and final architectural review with the conditions and stipulations set forth in the staff proposal.
I'll
Great.
second the motion.
Great. Is there any more discussion about that? Okay, seeing none, we'll go to a roll call vote.
Absolutely. We have Chair Carter,
Aye.
Committee Member Hunter,
Aye.
Committee Member Polly,
Aye.
Committee Member Schmidt,
Aye.
and Committee Member Tregenza.
Aye.
Thank you.
Your project has been approved unanimously, and this can be appealed to the Planning Commission within 10 days by anyone. Thank you both for joining us.
Thank you so much
Congratulations on
for your
retirement.
support on the project. Thank you again. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Appreciate everybody's time.
And are there any further committee member comments? Is there a staff report?
Yeah, just that for our next meeting, there is a sign program and some signage proposed at 211 Pearl Street. So Chris is the project planner as well. And so you'll be seeing that at the next meeting.
Thank you, Fernanda. If there are no other comments, we will adjourn the meeting at 4:45. Thank you.
Bye. Have a good night.